Welcome everyone, Dr. Thor here. Get ready for Gnosis. Well, we're going to look at some more energy products, some fascinating things I've collected over the years as I go through my entire storage and find out what I want to keep and not keep, what I want to do with them. And I like everybody to get a feel of what's been on the market for years, what's still out there, and what is it all? And of course, we're going to do the valuable energy testing. Now, let's start off with a fairly valid product. Now, this is a actual pyramid board. I believe this is from the 70s. And it's just a plastic pyramids put together. These happen to be, what is that? 3, 4, 5, 15 in a row. Usually it's 9, but 15 is another good pyramid plate design. And that's all this is multi-pyramids. You put them together like this, and these have been stated to do quite well. You know, I love pyramids. Frankly, I have them everywhere. I put everything on them, all my supplements, all my medications, whatever it is I have to charge, foods, you name it. And I'm not sure much is really happening there, to be honest with you. I know that large pyramids tend to produce excellent energies. I'm not sure all these little ones do, but pyramids plate like that, they have used Kirlian photography, and you kind of see energy coming out of the top of these. The problem is the energy powerful enough to do anything? So it's very interesting. Let's take a look at this. Looks like this was... I don't know why it was made in 2 parts. Could there be something in here? I'm not going to break this to look at it because I'm going to use it, but let's test the actual energy from it. Now, again, energy is either good, bad, or neutral, and in some cases, if it has all 3 in it, you've found the grail. Those are rare, but a perfectly balanced item will have all the energies. Unbalanced items have 1 or more of a particular type of energy, particularly counterclockwise, meaning it's bad energy, and clockwise is good energy, which is still most items that are good, obviously, spin clockwise. I should say all items. If it's toxins like poisons, it spins counterclockwise. And I said occasionally you get all 3. So let's take a look here and see what kind of energy this has. So let me put it over the center here. You always get your pendulum going a little bit so that it's able to go in the direction. So is this positive, negative, or is this neutral? Hold it about 1 inch or 2 above it. And you can see it's positive, but it's not really spinning really strong. But that's an okay or good. I would say on a scale of 1 to 10, that's about a 6. So it's putting out good, positive energy. But again, does that really do anything, and to what level? Well, there's so much gossip about pyramids. I use them all the time. So this will go in my, which I will be showing you soon here. This will go in my little place where I charge everything up, particularly supplements I take. Oopsie poopsie. Okay, now we're going to move on to another pyramid that I've gotten off of eBay about 6 months ago. Now, again, I use pyramids. I put them around stuff, particularly my water, and I'm going to, my water that is charged and being charged in a pitcher, and I will show you that again in the future. But this is kind of nice. I mean, it's a variation of what a lot of people would call the ridiculous, silly, and contrived Orgone. Named by Wilhelm Reich for orgasm. Ooh, it's sticky. So the whole idea is that those things that go with that. So it's kind of nice. As I said, I like pyramids, and I always been a fan of crystals. So here's a bunch of little chunks. I don't know if they have this from other purposes or not, but they've stacked them in here. So you have a particular, I'm not sure what all these are. Looks like solanite, venturine, citron maybe, clear quartz, etc. And what they've done is stacked it on top of each other in a pyramid. kind of a nice idea, and they're really attractive. And that's one thing that the fake Orgone or ridiculous Orgone does is some people make very attractive piles of worthlessness. They just don't have much energy. We'll find out if they're actually toxic. Of course, a lot of Orgone can be really toxic. Let's again, you want to hold it over this. It doesn't have positive or negative energy. And show me the power of it. So this is putting out pretty good energy for a little pyramid. It almost looks like it's equal to or greater than the other one that we just shown. So it's very nice. As I said, these sell, I don't know what this, $9, $12. You can get these online. They come from China. And certainly if you had a bunch of these, you put them around the stuff. They're very attractive. And of course, they're just having nice pyramid energy that you can place around your house, next to your radionic machines, even on your radionic machines. A great way to use pyramids is you actually put it on the in plate. Now you've got you're amplifying what's in here by using a pyramid. Pyramid energy in itself is not going to do too much, especially at this size. But what you're doing is another type of amplifying, which is so critical with all radionic procedures. Amplify, amplify, amplify. If you don't, you've got very weak energies, and you're not trained enough really to do much with the basic energy there. Let's talk about stuff. And, you know, India is pyramid crazy to a large extent. It seems to be permeated into the Hindu or into Indian consciousness in general. We're talking about India from India. And they have all sorts of pyramids. They love to use a swastika. And this is all part of their culture. And of course, they're crazy about astrology, and they're crazy about numerology. And if you're marrying someone and they don't have the correct numerology or particularly astrology, you don't get married. Your parents will not give you permission to. I had somebody contact me about that who wanted to try and change that. And, you know, we can't change your culture. You know, we're not going to be able to have mommy and daddy say you should marry. But that's them. One of the things that India produces, there's a company there that produces all sorts of pyramids. Now, the problem with them is that they're always white plastic. Things that take pennies to make, and they have all different sizes and different types, little, small, etc., which are all fun. The fact that they're made out of white plastic kind of gives it less of a visual appeal. And we have to remember, though, that pyramids have nothing to do with what they're made out of. Making them out of one thing or another can assist the process to some degree in terms of amplifying it a bit. And we're not really sure. Surprisingly enough, plastic is a basic amplifier or a good, basically conductor of natural energies, because what is plastic? It's oil. It's from the earth, and it can work very well to amplify. So you would think, oh, you want to use copper and metals. Well, some of the more precious metals do give you a certain amount, but you got to remember that you're talking about electromagnetism. Most energies in the realms that we're talking about as subtle energy physics are not electromagnetic in nature, so using wires and stuff actually decreases the energy. So they have all these, and one of the problems with these is this is kind of an interesting little pyramid. It's got all these pyramids within a pyramid. They love to do this too. So you got what, 3 pyramids here? All the way around. Kind of an interesting little thing. It's got a little bit of metal tape here. I've had this for years. The problem with the Indian people is that, or at least from what I've seen online in general, from almost all of them, is they make very expensive products. So something like this for $30, $40 is outrageous. This is something that when produced in India can't cost more than $1 or $2. And they're just hyping these up. Some things are hundreds of dollars for a plastic piece of junk, and it's just the way it is. So it's a problem, and they're not the greatest at customer service or getting their products out as well, unlike the Chinese, which are much more dependable. But things like this should be much more reasonably priced, and you'd see a lot more of them. You see these occasionally on eBay and other places, but They're not popular because they're just too damn expensive for what people consider a piece of plastic. Now, they do have some cool designs. Now, this opens up here, and they all have different energies here. Some of these things, in terms of looking at it from an Indian or a Hindu point of view, they have different meanings, attract different planetaries. And what they have is this. Now, there's nothing underneath here, but they have this copper actual half circle here, which again is interesting. They also have at the bottom here, this is a brass plate. So this brass plate then goes into and connects in this area. Now, there's nothing really underneath here. I have my knife here. I thought I just had it. Yes, I do. So you've got this kind of interesting energy there. You also have this sacred Hindu symbol. I'm not sure if it's from the Hindus, but certainly from India, this particular flower that generates energy as well. Now this, you can pry these off pretty easily. Let me just pop this off. And again, this is pure copper, okay? And underneath it is the very traditional 9 pyramid plate, 3 and 3 and 3. This is a very common setup, 9 being a magical number that is powerful. And underneath this pyramid is this. So you can see there's some nice little touches here. It's unfortunate they didn't make these things a little nicer and a little less expensive. And these just fit right in here again. You just press them right in, and they're ready to go. So you've got a very multi-layered thing. You've got a metal plate here. You've got a 9 pyramid by 3 by 3 pyramid, 9 of them underneath the copper plate. You then have this kind of, again, this is not decorative. It's supposed to symbolize 3 different pyramids. This then just presses on right here. And you can, the problem is there's not much room in here to place stuff, but you could put your photograph in there for general energizing. You could put actually anything that you would want to manifest. That's a good protective energy. So if you put your photograph in here and you write protection, protect me on there, you're going to have that energy going to you. So it's not a simplistic little pyramid. Like so many pyramids are very simplistic. It's just a pyramid. We have recently started selling pyramids that have crystals in them, have different designs that they sit on. Some really nice stuff we've recently found that is available. And of course, we also now provide with all of our pyramids double pyramid amplification that we have out there. And that's the use of putting these things on discs and other things that generate energies. See if I can find we have several blades. We're coming up with an entirely new way of using all of our stuff. We have a complete new system where we'll be inserting particularly sigil empowered plates where we'll be able to generate huge amounts of energy that were unable to be done in the past that way. And here's a classic amplifying design. What you do is something like this, and all of your products should have one of our amplifying plates, whichever one that may be there. So, very important to have that so that you're able to take something that is pretty good and make it fabulous. So, these are the type of things that everybody should be aware of and start working with. Let's see if we have that other design, but there are many, and we're going to have a complete system of these plates that we have out there that you'll be able to use to amplify for different things. So you'll be able to get a plate like this. Remember, it's not just the design. We're going to have here radionic rates, and of course on the back there's an actual special encoding, what is an actually sound frequency which overcomes the digital nonsense. And that is empowered to cleanse, clean, empower, bring money, etc. So there's a different basically tone or sound frequency in there, but it's not digitalized in terms of itself. It's a sound frequency. So, and then you would use these kind of things under everything to empower them. So you can watch for that in the future, which we're getting into. But you can see how that's kind of a nice little pyramid here. It's an interesting little setup. And let's go over this again and give it some of our energy testing. Is this energy good, bad, neutral? And show me how strong it is, either good, bad, or neutral. So obviously this is good, and it's at an average power range again. Again, that's probably a 6. It's not putting out a huge amount of energy. Let's move on to your classic little orgone, as people are talking about. Certainly, this is what everybody's doing now. So, from the guy who invented orgonites, the satanic Hans Wells, Carl Hani Wells, it's a bunch of powdered stuff put together, and this kind of things that have been very popular with coils. He doesn't put any of that in it. We've shown that in our videos, and we've cut them open. None of this kind of stuff is in there. There is some copper wire to grab some of the energy, but there basically none of this is in there. This is very typical of what people are doing. I don't know. We've got some sparkly, looks like gold in there. I frankly doubt that is real metal, but it possibly could be. It's got as we look at this, you always start coils from this. So this is a positive swing coil. It's clockwise. And of course, they've got all these little chips in there. And you could actually suspend this or hook this into a little pyramid at the top, or whatever you wanted to do with it. And let's test this. But these things, again, this is, I like all these things. They're very attractive. But the problem you have to be, is there any negative nonsense? Now, generally, if you're not getting it from Carl Hans Welth, the evil Satanist, who, thank God, has died and is in hell with all his relatives, and his wife, who died young as well. What a family. They're not, the problem with this stuff is that it just doesn't produce good energy. And you have to be careful what people are using in it. Basically, this is just a bunch of semi-precious stone chips. They put them into a mold. Looks like it did a pretty good job on it. Added a little coil to it and a little ring at the top. You could call it an Orgone Christmas. So it seems to be very well made for what it is. But if you think this is going to do anything great, you're sadly mistaken. Again, these are nice minor level amplifiers. So let's see exactly. So is the energy in this positive, negative, neutral? And how strong is it? Show me. Oops. Let me get this up a little higher above. Let me pull back here so you can see a little more. Interesting. Very interesting. And that's what I was trying to tell people about orgone in general. And they may have mixed too many energies in here. We getting neutral. So if you think this is doing great things for you, it isn't. It's just neutral. So it's not really affecting anything good or bad. There may be a slight amplification, and the neutral swing is pretty strong, meaning, it ain't doing much. It looks pretty, Dr. Thor. Is that right, dumb guy? I like it. It looks pretty. Can it make my hair grow? Dr. Thor? I don't know. It looks cool to me. Well, is that orgone? Yes, it is, dumb guy. Ooh, it looks like a ball. Could I eat it? I wouldn't eat it, dumb guy. But this is your typical nonsense that you will get. And, that's about the level that Orgone needs to be taken in a serious fashion. Orgone, again, by Wilhelm Reich, was certainly interesting, even profound, and potentially fantastic for cloud busting and drawing or making it rain. Something we need to look at since we're going through a time of horrible droughts everywhere. And apparently he was able to do this. Was it healthy? Was it good? He died very young in prison after he was persecuted. He was about to get out, and he then died. So we have no idea. Was he murdered? Well, we can talk about Coolio, which I will do soon, who was murdered, but I don't know if Reich was murdered or not. Yes, he certainly was persecuted, and when he was apparently tricked into breaking his court order, they then arrested him and jailed him for a couple of years. Very typical of, in the past, people weren't put in prison for 30 years to live off of the taxpayer's dollar. That was a fair sentence for the problem there. But he didn't make it out. Was he well? In general. Did Orgone help him, or did he attract a lot of a lot of deadly Orgone and messing with all this stuff? I don't believe Orgone is all that healthy in general. And if you're working with cloud busters and other things, it could be dangerous to your energetic. If these things disrupt propulsion systems of UFOs and extraterrestrials, ships, well, how good is that for you as a bioentity? We don't know. But certainly, this is not what he ever talked about. What he talked about was the fact of a very particular type of accumulative substances that created things in a very particular way of doing things, which were yet simplistic, but yet also very potent, apparently. Again, because of all the suppression and harassment, we just don't know what he was doing in general. But let's take a look at this. It's got that hook on the top. It's very well made. It came in a nice little bag that was printed and everything else. So it certainly is a nice product. I can't remember who made this and where it came from. But certainly, other than decorative, it doesn't do anything. It's so typical. So let's test it yet again. Does it have positive, negative, or neutral energies, and show me the strength of it? Again, it's neutral. Now, as I've mentioned, I don't know if this would be a good amplifier or not. Meaning, if you put this on your, you put this on your little radionic machine. These are our Mini 9s. We're going to have a new version of this coming out fairly soon. So if you put this on your actual radionic machine, since it's neutral, is there any amplification that it can give? And we can ask right here, would this amplify, and here's the outplay, would this amplify anything that is placed in the radionic unit? Would this amplify it? It seems that anything to do with this particular energy is neutral. Interesting. And neutral is always a little bit of a confusing energy to get. Not positive, it's not negative, it is neutral. Well, in my book, that means it's ineffective, but it's something that we'll have to think about and do more study on in the future. So I hope you enjoyed this review of certain energies. We got more coming, but this will give you a good understanding of several different products. If you have a product and you'd like me to test it, send me a photograph of it, and I can test products. And this is something I'm adding on for free now. Do you have a positive, negative, or possibly even demonic-filled product? So it's very important that you do this. In the past, I used to do this and check people. They buy these haunted items. They buy stuff off of eBay and other places by people who claim. We all love these quasi relics. So, and I bought many of these myself to check. It's always fun. Well, what energy could be in there? Most of the time, there's little or no energy in it, and occasionally we find some nasty energy. So if you've got something like that, take a picture of it, send it to me. And we also, remember, we still do our free energy readings. These are not psychic readings. I check your energies. I check for conflicts and blockages. I check your chakra, your third eye, etc. I'm not interested in reading your personal life and what's happening. That's your own thing, dude. So the whole idea is that, but we will check your energies. And if your energies have blockages, it means whatever you're going into will be problematical to get the level of success you desire. So keep that in mind and watch for all my next videos.